See a volcano.
Tell me more.
See lots of smoke and ash. It's lava starting to melt down the forest. See birds, deer, other animals starting to run.
And where is this all coming from?
Well, the lava is coming from the center of the volcano.
And it's all coming from the volcano. And as you are observing this, where are you in relation to the volcano?
I'm kind of just floating as an observer, sort of above where the lava meets the forest.
And as you look at this, are there any other beings there other than the animals?
Yeah, there's a bunch of little, like, fairy creatures.
And little fairy creatures, and how are they feeling about this, all the smoke and everything coming towards them?
Seems that they just know it's part of life, nature, that change is inevitable. They're kind of just going with the flow, guiding the animals to safety.
So they're now relocating to a different area.
Mm-hmm.
So take me there. Take me to this area where they're taking them to.
It's seeing a really cold, snowy mountain, like a misty winter climate.
Beautiful.
Beautiful, kind of like crystal blue frozen lakes. It's pretty desolate.
And it's quite desolate. So whereabouts is this taking place? Is it a planet? Is it, what is this place called that you are observing?
The first thing that comes to mind is Mount Fuji.
So it's Mount Fuji. And do they give you a time, a date, a year where you see this happening?
1532.
1532. And why are you actually being shown what's happening with this relocation? What is the importance of this?
It seems like it's a powerful metaphor for life. That change is inevitable. And stress and pressure, like the volcano, can help push you to reach for new places that, even though it's uncomfortable, or maybe even sad, that it can take you to possibly new places that are more suited or enjoyable for you.
And as you are the observer, what is your form that you take when you observe this change?
It seems like just a floating golden ball of energy.
A beautiful golden ball of floating energy.
Mm-hmm. It's multi. It's got different shades of gold and yellow, kind of morphing.
Wonderful. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave the scene behind with these animals that have now had to adapt to a new way of being. And I want you to connect deeper and deeper with your golden ball of energy. And let's see where else that ball would like to take you today. You are pure consciousness, pure energy, and you're golden. And you can absolutely go anywhere. So I'm going to count from 3 to 1. And when I get to 1, I want you to tell me where this ball is taking you. 3, floating through time and space. 2, going faster and faster. And 1, slowing right down and having absolute control of everything that you see. Be there now.
In the Arcturian star system.
What does it look like?
I don't know if I can see a full picture, but the first thing I see is this really mystical, powerful tree. You can see all its roots. It has these brilliant blue flowers. Kind of reminds me of the tree from the movie Avatar. It's like a source of powerful energy, wisdom.
And what do the Arcturians use that tree for? Do they use it in any other way? In any way?
It seems that they use it to connect with the elements, use it for different healing or tuning processes.
And when you speak about connecting with the elements, what does that entail?
I'm not completely sure what that entails, but it seems like as they connect with this earth element in particular, helps them to become more grounded, rooted in their own being.
So they actually have a connection with Earth, with planet Earth, the Arcturians?
Yeah, it actually seems like this tree allows them to connect with humans.
Very interesting, very interesting. So as you get closer to Arcturus, I want you to start zooming in. And as you zoom in, I want you to have a look at your actual energetic form. What form do you take at this place?
Kind of seems just like a blue light body that can kind of morph and choose how it presents itself. But I'm seeing like a holographic blue outline. It seems like the template for a human, but it's more just energy.
So it's sort of got like a human form, but it's not human, and it's an energetic blue.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
That's how it seems. That's all I can. That's all I'm seeing.
So do you have an Arcturian form, or are you just visiting Arcturus as this energetic blue being?
Seems I'm just visiting.
You're just visiting. So where do you actually come from today with this? What's the purpose of your visit?
From Sirius.
From Sirius. So as a Sirian visiting Arcturus, what is your purpose in this particular visit at this time?
Seems I'm actually there to teach different metaphysical laws, ways of being. Even though Arcturians are very evolved, it seems like you can never stop learning and growing. And each and every planet has different things we can learn and share with each other.
So that sounds like you have the most fabulous job. Would you call it a job or would you call it something else? How does it make you feel when you teach these beautiful metaphysical laws?
Well, it just feels something that's natural. It's not, it doesn't seem like a job or something I have to do, but it seems like something that feels right. And as I share and teach, the Arcturians are also able to share and teach things with me.
So it's an exchange.
It's more of an exchange of experiences and understandings.
And are they, sorry to interrupt you, carry on.
They have different challenges on their own planet. And some of the elders, I seem to be meeting with some of the elders.
So I'd like you to now take me to a place where you are actually now giving them information. What does it look like? What is before you?
Actually, this kind of stone looking temple, large stone temple. Let's see, almost seems like cobblestone,
Cobblestones and a large temple, stone temple.
but different kinds of minerals and rocks that you wouldn't find on Earth.
Very different. And then how many beings would you say are listening to you in this particular lesson today? Information sharing.
Seems like there's 6 elders.
And they're 6 elders. And what do they look like as you look at them?
They're wearing funny purple robes, long robes. And I kind of just see one in particular that I'm facing. He seems to have long, silky, white, flowing hair.
And do they actually give you a name at all? How do they address you?
Just hear the words Chohan, but that's not my name.
So why do you think they give you that name, Johan or Johan?
Actually refers to an order of beings responsible for certain energetic frequencies or patterns. It seems that I'm responsible for carrying the first ray of beings.
So the first ray of beings, is that what you said? So what would a first ray be? Are you able to expound on that for us? Tell us a bit more.
Hearing the words willpower, and it's dealing with teaching strength.
So you're saying gene strength and willpower, is that correct?
Yeah, it deals with strength and willpower, and sort of in a divine, connected way. Strength and willpower towards source. I'm responsible for teaching and sharing the lessons that come along with this sort of frequency of experience. Just
So, yes.
seems like the rays are just key themes that all beings are responsible for learning.
So these rays, so if this is the first ray, is there a group that teach all the different rays? Are there different groups that teach different rays, or are you actually teaching more than ray one?
Well, I'm getting the sense that there's 7 main rays and many more after that, but just as there's 7 chakras and many more chakras, there's also 7 rays and orders for learnings, and many more sub-learnings within that.
Excellent. And do you teach other rays as well, or are there other beings that teach the other rays? Is ray one your speciality?
Yeah, it seems like that's my focus. We all are at different points for different lives. We have different focuses, and the beings of each ray are balanced in the others, but choose a ray that aligns more closely with their energetic signature.
So when people learn about these rays or energetic beings, whichever form they take, like you go to Arcturus and you teach them about that, do you then go to other areas and teach as well, also about the first ray, or do you only teach on Arcturus?
Seems I teach on the Pleiades as well.
On the Pleiades as well. That's okay. So what we're going to do, let's leave Arcturian now. And I want you to tell me, as you transport yourself to the Pleiades to do these beautiful lessons or sharing of knowledge, how do you get there? How do you transport yourself from Arcturus to the Pleiades?
Seems there's particular vortexes that are connected across space and time. In a particular place, say from Sirius, it's like a vortex of spinning energy that can instantly send you to the Pleiades. It's kind of like reminds me of like a metro station. You just get on and it sort of takes you exactly where you're supposed to go.
So is there anything that you have to do in that energetic form to actually get into that vortex?
Well, you have to be at a particular energetic frequency in order to pass through. So lower frequency beings can't just use these sort of passageways.
So how do those lower beings get to different areas then? Are they allowed to go into those areas, or are they restricted?
Seems they were restricted for the most part.
So would they be doing something else?
And it seems they're restricted in that they're the lower beings wouldn't even be able to withstand the higher energy. Kind of be like, I'm getting the image of if you were to stick your body in a microwave, you wouldn't be able to survive, as our bodies aren't built for that particular frequency emissions.
So how do they then learn about the first ray?
They also have their own order of beings that teach these lessons. It seems I'm also responsible for sharing information with the elders of the Pleiades. But it seems a lot of the ancient information tends to come from Sirius. It seems Sirius is sort of the oldest star system, kind of like a hub for wisdom. And from Sirius branches out to different planets and places where this information can be disseminated in different ways.
Okay, so what I would like you to do now is to let me know Sirius, Pleiades, Arcturus, do they ever get together and have a meeting, the elders?
Yes, but they don't happen in time as we know it. It's more, they don't have scheduled meetings. They just feel sort of a call from source to align and gather. And it seems that these meetings take place exactly when they're supposed to. It's not really done through thought, but more of an intuitive guidance, like an intuitive GPS system.
And then when they hit them, is it a physical place that they meet, or how do they actually connect?
I'm seeing a triangle connecting these three planets. And it seems like we kind of just take turns on the different planets. But there's also, on these planets, there's different levels of dimensions residing within them. So someone in the fifth dimension can only access the fifth dimension on Arcturus or the Pleiades. And at the same time, there's six dimensional beings and higher existing at the same time, right on top of each other. And it kind of seems like it's just a hierarchy of energy from source. And in order to understand itself, it has to flow through these different layers and beings.
Okay, it's very, very interesting. Thank you so much for giving us this knowledge. And as you go around these different areas, teaching them the knowledge and the metaphysical laws of the Ray One, is there any area that you prefer to visit over another?
I feel most closely connected to the Pleiades, as it seems to be a meeting space for Earth, as they watch Earth the closest. Specifically, just for strategies and plans and learnings involving Earth. It seems the Pleiades is the focus. And the Pleiadians actually have a lot of similarities that align with humans. I'm actually getting the information that they went through something similar to humans a long, long time ago.
A long time ago. And are they helping Earth at the moment? How are they feeling about Earth currently?
Kind of just see a sense of laughter, knowing how ridiculous things seem on the surface here, but also excitement because they know exactly what's going to play out.
So can they share that with you? What is going to play out? Are you able to actually have a look at that timeline? See if you can hone in and if they can share that with you.
Seems like there's no specific time frame for ascension.
You know, we hear so much about ascension. So from your point of view as the metaphysical master of the Ray One, what are you and the Pleiadians understanding about ascension on the earth?
Well, first of all, that it's inevitable for everyone at some point in time. But right now, due to particular planetary alignments, the Earth is allowing a split where beings of a higher density, which is really just a state of consciousness, are allowed to shift onto the planet as the planet Earth ascends as well. The Earth is going through its own ascension, just as humans are. And the humans that are ascending get to go on the ascended Earth. It's kind of like a timeline split. And the old Earth will play out different themes and ideas that other evolved souls don't need to re-experience. And those older souls, they know exactly what they signed up for. They're choosing not to ascend because they know they still have so much more to learn, just as the Pleiadians did at one point.
So are the Pleiadians assisting in any way?
It seems they're always assisting, tend to focus and assist those who are ready in order to not disturb anyone's free will. So if you set the intention and ask for their help, then they're not breaking your free will if they help you.
So, what advice could you give to earthlings at this time who are feeling fractured or afraid?
It may be difficult to hear, but to know that they did choose it, their soul chose it. It's kind of a way for God to rediscover himself through the challenges, through the harsh experiences, and all the pain and trauma. Because without that, God wouldn't be able to know what love actually is. And so, I guess what they need to know is that the quicker they observe the learnings and pay attention to the negative things in their life, not give it energy, but see beyond it from a higher perspective, the quicker they can reach ascension. We actually attract our negative experiences to us through certain limiting beliefs and thoughts, and a lot of times we're not even aware of them. But if you pay attention to what happens in your external environment, you'll notice there's a corresponding thought that comes up.
So, you are there teaching the ray of one. And in your current earthly incarnation, what is it that you've come to teach?
Seems to be passion and willpower, helping people reclaim that. When you don't have a sense of willpower, you tend to just be a product of your environment. And in this earthly realm, being a product of our environment is not necessarily what anybody truly wants. And this is what they refer to when they say people are asleep, is that they don't know how to have control or willpower over their own lives. Tend to give it away to others. And it's been passed down from generations, as well as influenced by powerful, darker beings, powerful humans who control the narrative. But it's all with purpose. But the goal now is when you restore your own willpower over your thoughts and emotions, your ideas, you create the life you want. It's you're actually tuning back into source and helping anchor higher dimensional light and frequencies that are always available, but helping anchor it into the physical world.
So, what is a practical step that somebody could take who are not happy with the direction that their lives are currently taking? They can actually recognize that there's a dysfunction and that they want to change, but they feel perhaps helpless or hopeless.
It will be helpful to look at other people who have achieved what you want to achieve. And know that they're actually not any different than you. Both have a brain, a body, a heart. But what's different is their intentions and the way they see things. So if they're lacking hope, it would be helpful to remember that the only thing stopping them is their own mind. All our problems exist within the human mind. And in order to get to the root of all issues, you have to get to the root of your own mind. Sort of weed out any negative blockages that are stopping you. And it seems you can't just override positive thoughts over the negative ones, because those negative ones are firmly planted and have strong roots. But what you can do is reframe those negative thoughts or perceptions and feelings so they can blossom to positive ones. Kind of seeing the metaphor of like a farm. You have two trees side by side. They both have equally strong roots. Maybe one is less desirable, the other one is more desirable. You can't just get rid of the negative thought or the negative tree just by planting more positive ones around it. It may seem better on the surface, but the negative thought is still there. So it has to be unrooted in a sense.
And then when it's unrooted, then what do you do with it?
Be grateful for its purpose and then let it go. Observe from a higher perspective why it existed.
Okay, and then you just let it go. And does that mean then that you can plant a new root as such?
Exactly. As you stop giving it power or feeding it, the roots tend to die and shrink. Eventually, the tree falls over. And as you continue feeding the more positive roots, it begins to become more natural and effortless. And as the seeds of a tree drop from one tree, more positive trees begin to grow. It almost becomes like an effortless way of being. Being in a positive state of being becomes more effortless and natural.
And as you say that, I get an image of two trees, just like you said. And the one that's negative is sort of more withering and not bearing beautiful fruit, whereas the other one seems to have an abundance of fruit.
Yes, exactly. As negative tree seems gray and dull and
Yeah.
no leaves, just kind of dead inside. But it can be firmly rooted and still not pleasing to the eye. So you do have to take action to take care of it.
Yeah. So you could need help in earthly terms as an arborist or somebody that's specialist and specializing in that. So on earth, with the work that you're currently doing with your NLP and your hypnosis, is that the kind of thing that people will be able to come to you and get helped so that they can pull those old trees out, those dying trees, and then replenish them with abundance of new growth.
Yes, 100%. But
Okay.
just an easy way to sort of unlock the roots. And through neuro-linguistic programming, therapeutic imagery, you can begin to sort of shake those roots loose, change your perception and feelings about them.
Okay, thank you so much. So what I'd like you to do is to continue on this fabulous journey of discovery. We're going to get back into that golden light, that golden ball that can just take you absolutely anywhere. And this time, I want you to direct it straight to your guide so that we could have a connection and some answers. So I'm going to count from 3 to 1. And when you get to 1, you will be with your guide, the one that will answer your questions today. Getting inside that golden ball, becoming part of that golden ball that can go anywhere at any speed. It's protected, it's secure. 3, getting on board and becoming part of the light. And the light is you and you are the light. 2, going faster and faster through hyperspace. And now you're starting to slow down because you're getting closer to your destination. And 1. Be there now. What do you see?
See Yeshua.
Yeshua is there for you. And what is it that Yeshua wishes to share with you today?
Just the concept of oneness.
Tell me more.
See beneath the surface, especially on Earth, there's so much disconnect. We tend to only see others' hurt and pain and rejection as they project that onto us. What we're forgetting to see is that if we were in their shoes, we would probably be doing the same thing and playing it out in the same way. And when you see humans, you can see sort of the ego that's been formed by society and institutions. But beneath that, there's the soul. And with the soul, it's that pure, loving awareness, always patiently watching, observing, and learning. So each and every person on this planet is made up of the same substance when it comes to souls and even their physical bodies. But the souls is what is everlasting. And if we can begin to change our perception when we see someone hurting or projecting their traumas and hurts onto others, see them from a place of compassion because they are you and you are them. And we just tend to forget that. our egos forget that. But that's seems to be the focus for planet Earth right now. To see how much we have in common underneath, as opposed to focusing on all our differences.
So, time to find a common ground and know that we're all human.
Mm-hmm. And to forgive each other, because what we may judge another person for, we may have done or experienced in a past life or in a future life.
So, it's pointless judging. Why would you judge if you were once judged yourself?
Mm-hmm. Just, it's important to remember that it's source expressing itself in all these different fractals and all these different ways in order to just gain as much experience, in order to grow and evolve, and in order to ascend and come back to itself. And so those differences, it's really just different fractals and patterns.
So, there's no point in really taking yourself seriously. Just decide what it is you want to do and go out and do it and have the best fun.
And it's also about learning how to tap into the highest version of yourself or your oversoul, and learning to merge that with the ego. We're not supposed to ridicule the ego or get upset when it doesn't behave the way we think it should. It's just about merging and allowing it to gradually merge energies with the oversoul in a compassionate, loving way.
Lovely. So, with Yeshua there, what is your connection with him?
We've been brothers in a sense, best friends for lifetimes and lifetimes.
So, I wonder if you could ask him if he's happy for us to have a three-way conversation today. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So, Yeshua, I'd love to ask you a question. Last year, when I did a reading for Dom, and you asked the question, would Dom and I like to continue the work that you started so long ago, and then said that we'd work together? What is it? What is it that you wish us to do, and specifically Dom at this time?
You actually don't have to have it all sorted and figure out a plan for the future. The more rooted you are in the present, the more you allow for the right doors to open for you. And you'll know what to do moment by moment as long as you are present. Present in your body, in your heart, mind, and spirit.
Because he's had a fear of stepping into his role. So, what can you tell him today just to help him step away from that fear?
Well, there's no reason to fear the fear itself. It's just a feeling. And it serves its own purpose along his path. But fear is useful because there's still more learnings and understanding and experiencing the fear himself. He'll be able to share that with others, how to work through and transcend it. So it's nothing to push away from, but the quicker he can see it for what it is and transcend it, the quicker he can help others and teach them to do the same.
So,
Fear,
yes, sorry, carry on.
fear is a necessary part of the path until it's no longer needed.
So, all that time ago, when he was with you, was his role then Peter the disciple?
Yes, it was.
And what were his qualities at that time that stood out so strongly?
Well, it's funny you asked that. A lot of his struggles and qualities have been mirrored in this lifetime. And St. Peter wasn't always tuned into his higher self, or even knowing there was a higher power. He's an example of someone who was lost in ego. And through his own willpower, remembering his connection to the divine through my energy and just through my beingness, as well as all the metaphysical teachings, he was able to gain even more willpower. It's more of like a soul willpower instead of an ego willpower. He's responsible for teaching others the power of the soul, not the power of the ego. So in his lifetime as St. Peter, he was able to live on both sides of the spectrum, completely in ego, transcending all the way to the willpower of the soul. And he's a perfect example that anybody who is struggling in this present day can also do the same.
Thank
Just
you.
as Dominic is learning.
Sorry, what was that?
Just as Dominic is learning.
Just as Dominique has done is busy going through that at the moment. And when I started this conversation with Dom today, there were lots and lots of white orbs of light just floating up all the time. Could you tell us actually what those are, why we were seeing them?
These are angels and guides. They're actually around him all the time. They're there to guide him, learn, observe, make things happen synchronistically. And because he's signed up for a big role, they just want to ensure that it goes according to plan. They're also there as a reminder of his connection to his higher power. Sometimes he does forget, just as St. Peter forgot.
So you've actually connected him with the most beautiful girl in his life. what is the significance of this connection with these two beings? What is it that they need to accomplish together? Or is there anything that they need to accomplish together?
Seems to be a surprise for them. If I were to give away the details, or even some of the steps, it would hinder the mission they're here to take. But the themes they're here to share are about oneness, unconditional love, compassion, presence, strength, and willpower.
It seems that they have such a deep connection. Is this because they've had previous lifetimes together?
Yes, they've had many, many lifetimes together, playing different roles, acting as mirrors.
So this is just a new dance together.
Yes, a new exciting dance.
A new exciting dance. What fun. So Yeshua, the other thing is that Dom said he felt that he had a dream where he was on this base. It was like in the desert, and all the people were running out of the base, and he went to hide in the base. But when he looked up, there was a UFO, and he was almost like sucked up with a magnetism into that UFO. Now, was this a dream, or is this something that he experienced?
This is something that happened in the astral plane while he was sleeping.
It happened on the astral plane.
It's the lower fourth dimension.
And what were they wanting with him?
Seems they abducted him. The only way they were able to reach him is it was a darker point in Dominick's life. Normally they wouldn't be able to reach him. They wanted to study and analyze his energetic body to find weaknesses. But he doesn't have to worry because they're not able to reach him only unless he gives them permission, which he doesn't.
Okay, so that episode is complete. He doesn't have to worry about anything like that again. So Yeshua, with other people that are being abducted, is there anything that you can tell them to protect themselves? I know that not all that are abducted are for their detriment, and that some are abducted to get knowledge. But for those ones that feel that it's a detriment to them, what can they do to protect themselves?
There's a very powerful method that comes from the Pleiades, where you envision anytime before you go to sleep a golden ball of energy starting in the center of the home or apartment, and allowing it to expand and seeing it grow until it covers with 6-foot walls around the edges. And just the intention of this sort of golden sphere around your home is strong enough to repel any sort of lower vibrational entities. As your imagination is everything. And what you think with enough energy becomes reality.
Thank you so much. And he seems that he has a fear of expression within certain groups. Where did this come from? And is this still necessary to hold this thought form?
This has come over many lifetimes. Even in the lifetime of St. Peter, there was fear of expression. In a lifetime of Rome. And this one, there is undealt with energy from past lives that is now being dealt with. And there's also things learned from his environment in this lifetime. But it's all been with purpose. It's given him a challenge to work through and heal.
So with that fear of expression that is no longer a necessary thought to hold, will he now be able, with confidence, to move forward and become a public speaker, sharing his knowledge of the metaphysical law of one, on the ray of one?
Of course he can.
He can.
He identifies with his God self, and less with the limited human self. It will all flow naturally. There's just more roots to unpluck.
So Yeshua, what message have you got for him today that you would like to tell him?
To keep up all the good work. To not worry about figuring out the future and how it needs to go, and just trust in the divine plan. And that the more he silences his mind, the more he remembers, and the more we can stay in contact.
So with his human 3D vehicle, is there anything that he needs to change to let him vibrate at a higher speed?
Diet is one of them.
Is there anything that he needs to put in or to take out in the actual diet?
Higher alkaline diet will benefit him greatly.
Alkaline.
He's fairly good about balancing. Coffee is too acidic, and it seems he's a little dependent on coffee for energy. But he knows that all the energy he needs is inside of him. The other thing he can do to raise his vibration is surround himself with more loving and compassionate people as often as he can. Supportive people, people who support him for who he authentically is. But also meditating is the most powerful. Meditating on a consistent basis So as you meditate, you tap into your God self, and the lower limited self begins to quiet. You can think of it, your mind is like a receiver. When you're thinking a lot of thoughts, creates static and can keep you closed off from higher dimensional energies, wisdom, and understanding. As you clear out the static through meditation, you can open up to these higher energies and allow for effortless creativity, love, anything that you wish.
Very good. Now, Yeshua, you and the team told me that I was to stop doing one-on-ones and only speak to the masses, start with the workshops and the public talking, and get the book launched. And yet today, I thought that Dom was going to hypnotize me as part of his learning techniques and his NLP. And yet he thought I was here to hypnotize him. Now, he did some beautiful NLP on me. What an excellent, excellent teacher. And in return, we did spontaneously this session. But what intrigues me is that why did you allow this transmission when all the other ones have been stopped? What is it that you wanted to get out of this today? Did you want us to be able to share this because Dominic has had such incredible information today, or was there any other reason?
Because both of you are of the same frequency, you were able to help each other exponentially. So each and every time you guys connect and reach out, especially in the way that you have today, quicker both of you can ascend in consciousness and help others.
So what major news or importance or message would you like to give to humanity at this time? Because there seems to be a lot of anxiety in many, many people. If they can hear from you today, Yeshua, to just give them some tips as such, is what's the best way for them to cope at this time?
Just remember to have faith in a higher power, whatever way they see fit. And really all the chaos and anger and violence and racism, it's always existed on this planet. But now it's just come to the surface to be looked at and dealt with. And so it's not things are getting worse, while many may think that. It's actually things are much better on an energetic level as it's being transmuted in ways that many can't see through the news, through social media. But you might begin to notice it in friends of friends, relatives, slight perception changes, ways they carry themselves. And if they do seem chaotic, there's just old energy coming up to the surface to be dealt with. There's ultimately nothing to fear, as in the end, we all return to source.
Thank you so much. So now, Yeshua, I'd like to ask you, are we now complete with this session, or is there anything else that I need to address with Dom before we end?
We are complete.
We are complete. Thank you so much. And Dom, with that, I'm going to now bring you out. I'm going to count from 1 to 5. And when we reach 5, you're just going to feel so fabulous. You're just going to remember everything. You're going to have no side effects. And you've had a gorgeous session. So 1, starting to feel your toes again, your fingers wiggling around, opening your eyes, taking a big breath of fresh air, and feeling fabulous. Feeling fabulous.
Wow. My body is like stiff.
Stiff.
There's a lot of like energy flowing at once. That was crazy.
Well, remember, I saw those little white orbs and I just knew it was something, because every now and then I'd see it go right across your face. So from tiny little fairy lights to just pure white light, just going whoosh, whoosh. So I knew I had to ask, because I knew it was something.
Yep. That was deep. I think that was the deepest I ever went, because everything was just like flowing and coming to me. It was, yeah, that's a lot to process.
And you thought that you wouldn't be able to see anything. What if you had nothing to say?
I know, I did. I think all the guided meditations and visualizations and NLP is starting to develop that skill.
So tell people what you do and who you are, Dom, who you are, other than St. Peter.
Oh, yeah. So I'm actually in school training to be a hypnotherapist. And that's pretty much my focus for right now. And I'm leaning towards helping those already on the spiritual path who've encountered blockages, as I feel like that aligns most with my frequency. And as I help them, they can help others in different ways, as opposed to working with people on a different frequency. I'm gearing towards those already on the spiritual path who've encountered blockages. And the way I've kind of seen it is like it kind of trickles down as you release these blockages in these people, then they can help these people, and they can help these people all on different levels of their own path. And doing that through NLP, changing perceptions, reframing the past, releasing negative emotions, as well as using like therapeutic imagery.
Excellent. So tell people where you're located.
I'm actually in Encinitas, California, little surfer town. But I can actually take clients anywhere across the country, other countries, because everything's over Zoom right now because of COVID.
And then how do they get hold of you?
Yeah, they can contact me. I'll actually send you my email, my work email, when I have it all figured out. And also even just through text. So yeah, I can provide that to you as well.
Okay, so you don't want to tell them right now so that they can write it down? What would you prefer?
A new work email. I'd rather keep that separate from my private one. So yeah. I'm also still a student, so I'm trying to figure out all the marketing and advertising and promotion. So getting all of that up and running.
So Dom, I've got a suggestion if you're open to it. What about if you and I and Christina do once a month a Zoom with people, and we can do a meditation, and then we can just have a general chat. So we can just answer questions, or people can give us information.
I love that.
Would you like that?
That would be so cool.
Okay, so then we'll set it up and we'll advertise it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on my YouTube channel so that people, oh, well, sorry, would you like to share this information? You happy to? Because I thought you had a super session. There was so much in it.
Yep. Yeah, it kind of blew my mind.
Okay, so tell everybody your name.
Dominic Bass.
Yes. And then they can get hold of you in the meantime if they want to through me.
Yes.
They can just leave a message and say, could we have Dom's info? And then they can chat you, because the reason I wanted you to tell them where you were is maybe you could have a catch up in your actual area and get to know like-minded souls who might think that they're there all by themselves.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And grow a community.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
So what is the physical requirements allowed in your state at the moment?
What's the question?
So like in New Zealand, we're free. We can do anything we like. We don't wear masks. We go to cafes and restaurants. We go for walks. We do whatever we like. So are you able to actually meet physically? That's what I'm saying.
I'm actually not too sure. I'm not fully positive on that. I don't want to give an answer without knowing. I know, we can still only dine outside. You still have to wear masks. There's no any sort of music venues or big events going on. So there's still a lot of limitations, but I'm actually not sure about get-togethers and things like that.
Okay, so you might have to do those on Zoom at the moment. So maybe there's a Californian group of like-minded souls that you can actually start meeting maybe once a month, because I know you're busy with your studies. But then when things open up, then you'll actually know each other because you would have met on Zoom, and then you can actually physically go and have dinner or barbecues or whatever.
Definitely.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so I'm going to say goodbye to everybody, and you're going to say goodbye, but you're going to stay there because we're going to have a chat.
Bye.
So lots of love, everybody, and thanks for watching. This is going to be my very, very first online hypno session. Awesome. Thanks, Dom. Thanks.
Thanks,
Cheers.